Welcome back, my boys and girls. So today, another look at the Retrobit Super Retro-Cade with the ultimate arcade stick, fully functioning. Everything works 100%. Pretty flippin' sweet. This was my dream with this device, with the Super Retro-Cade, was to have a fully functional arcade stick. Like I've said, I'm really into the arcade stuff more so than anything, and this is an awesome solution to playing arcade games with that realistic feel. You know, the little controllers that came with the system, they're not bad, but the challenge was figuring out a way to get an arcade stick to function the same as the controller that it comes with. So figuring out how to pin out the buttons and all that good stuff to mimic the style of the controller so everything functions as we like. So as you see here, I got a lot of notes going through trying to figure out the pinning of all these buttons. And I got it figured out. Pretty simple stuff. This is for zero delay. I do not use Zenmo, so do not ask about Zenmo. I hate Zenmo. All I ever use is zero delay. So if your boards look like these that I just showed, or these ones here, which I am using, they're zero delay as well, but they support LED buttons. And I'll have links in the description for all the components that I used if you are interested. And as you see, the Super Retro-Cade does power up my LED buttons, so that is awesome. So here you go. I have these buttons laid out just like the controller. You can get in and out of the game, start them up. Everything easy peasy. Everything's fully functioning. If you do the extra arcade add-on packs and all the game packs that, you know, have been dropped out there, your buttons are still going to be kind of, you know, weird. Like with Neo Geo games, the way it is the two bottom buttons is A and then B, and then the two top left buttons is C and D. So you got to get kind of accustomed to that unless you want to change it. That's pretty default for Neo Geo and this style, you know, stick. But with other games, you still may want to change your configuration. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But as you see here, all my buttons are functional. The stick is functional. Everything is easy. Then you could use select and start to exit out just like normal. The thing with my challenge with this was originally, you know, I had this pinned out to a RetroPie setup, and that does not fully work for the Super Retro-Cade. All the buttons are funky, everything's just not really the way I'm accustomed to. So I wanted to make sure I mimicked the actual controller the best I could. And there's a couple different ways we can do this, and I'll share some of my notes with you guys in just a second here of one way you can pin this out. So if you take a look at a normal zero delay board, the bottom of this board is typically the pins for all the buttons. So, you know, I have this laid out A, B, X, Y is the left and the middle buttons on the stick, and then the right two buttons are L and R. So what we need to do after, you know, all my note jotting down, here's the standard layout of pins the way I normally would do it. So I have it listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then 7 and 8. So that would be in sequence. That's where you would pin them on the zero delay board. And that's how I normally do it for, you know, a RetroPie setup on a Raspberry Pi and whatnot. So we need to change that for the Retro-Cade, as you see here. So our bottom three buttons are, our top one is 1, so that goes into the first slot. 2 is the bottom, 3 is the bottom middle, 4 is the bottom or the top middle, and then 5 and 6 are the rightmost top and bottom. So the other thing you have to pay attention to is the select and start. For the Retro-Cade, you do need to move those pins over to 9 and 10. 9 and 10 are going to register for your select and start. Now here's the bonus thing. If you don't care about none of that and you just want to pin it out for Street Fighter and then just get accustomed to that for every other game that you play, this is the way you would do it. 1 on the bottom, 2 on the top, 3 top middle, 4 top right, and then 5 on the bottom middle, 6 on the bottom right, and then keep your select and start 9 and 10. That will give you your Street Fighter pinout plays Street Fighter perfectly, just like the arcade. But now you have to remember your RetroCade buttons are changed up. So like X, for example, is filter on your normal screen. So now filter is going to be the top rightmost button. But the ones that really matter the most is the A and B. So that would be the top, middle and top left. So just got to pay attention to that. There's a lot of different ways you could do this, but I think the two best ways of doing it is either pinning it out to the Super Retro-Cade controller or pinning it out to Street Fighter. For me, I have it set to the Retro-Cade pinout for now, but I think I'm going to change it to the Street Fighter pinout and just get accustomed to playing the other games that way, because you can always go back in and change your buttons within the Super Retro-Cade. But to just have it pinned out the Street Fighter, to me, will make things a lot easier, because then I don't have to configure all my fighting games. I have a lot of Capcom fighters on here, so everything will be configured and good. And if I play another game that doesn't work the way I want, I could just go into that controller configuration within the Super Retro-Cade and change the way the buttons are assigned. And I think I pointed that out before. Best way to do that is to jot down what each button does and then just reassign them accordingly. So I hope this was a help to you guys. If a lot of this just sounded like gibberish to you, you don't know what any of these components are, join my Facebook group. Link is in the description. We'll help you out. If you really want a more in-depth look, I do have plenty of other videos where I've set up an arcade stick in the past. Typically, you just need your USB encoders, your wiring, your buttons, and your stick. This video, I am using Sanwa sticks and then these LED buttons that feel really good to me. I'm using a Game Room Solution 2-player arcade panel for my box, but you don't have to use that. It's $109 for this box shipped, which is not bad for what you are getting, but there are plenty of other cheaper options out there. I just think this one is awesome because it's heavy. It's got, the plexiglass on the top, nice, custom decal. It's just really a sturdy stick, but there are other ones you can get out there for as cheap as, for a single player box, like $20 or so. Or you can just always build your own or use a shoe box. I've done a video on using loot crate boxes before. Hey, anything that can house your buttons and your encoder is gonna work, and your stick, obviously. So I hope this was of help. Smash that like button if you could, really would appreciate it. Subscribe if you have not done so already. And with that said, guys, I will catch y'all next time. Boom! Peace out. Bye-bye.